Live today, Facebook Live. As you can see, it's only me. Okay, so you just have me today. I'm going to take you through 5 points I think are things to be considering. Definitely want to be working on in this market. And basically, of course, you should be talking to people. Of course, you should be filling your pipeline. You look, everybody knows, well, the rates are coming. The rates are going to come down. The market's going to ignite a little bit. That's down the road, right? But right now we have what we have, and that is people are competing. You're competing. If you want to get your home sold, you're competing with other people. Do you want to be the next sale? Anyway, I'm going to get into that for a second. My first point for today is speed to the lead. All right. In other words, just be quick about everything. You know, like the old thing, be quick, but don't hurry. In other words, somebody calls you, right? They leave a message, call them right back. All right. Or pick up the phone if you can. Now, listen, you have certain time blocked activities that you're not going to get interrupted on, but I'm talking about the other times. And even if you're prospecting and you have to call somebody back, call them back as soon as you can. Okay. But set up those expectations so they feel like when they have a thought or something going on, that they can trust you, you know, that you're responsive, that you want to help them. Okay, so that's just important. I mean, so look, you have a new listing. Get it out there as soon as possible. Make sure it's everywhere, meaning social media. It goes under contract. Same thing. You're having an open house. You know, the best time to have an open house on a new listing is right away, like this first weekend. You want to be the one notifying everybody. It goes under contract. Boom. You're out there telling everybody, doing social media about it. I also think when you're out there door knocking to invite the neighbors to your open house, you should video that. Hi, Rick Berube here. I'm out here, right? So you just do don't do the DJ voice. I'm only kidding. But, do a commercial about the property. Now, it's not only good for the property that you're hosting, it's also good for everybody else that sees what you're doing. Remember, you're growing your social media, feed all the time. You're growing the amount of people you have following you, your network of people. Okay, so that's number one. Number two on my list is master the market minute. In other words, you should give an update at least every other week, maybe even every week. And it should be a quick one. Here's what's happening, folks. This many listings. It's gone up that much. We have this many sales. It's gone up or down that much. That type of thing. So everybody can tell you have your finger on the pulse. Okay, you know what's happening. All right, look at from an open house to a listing appointment to working with a buyer, right? They are going to hire you because they believe you know more than they do. Otherwise, they ain't hiring you. And remember, today, in today's wonderful world of real estate, when a lot of you went into this kicking and screaming, which I never understood, oh my God, I have to beg a buyer to pay me now. No, it's called a buyer-broker agreement. They're paying it already. It's all in how you present it. You ever notice how we freak out about stuff? And then I remember, what was this, a year and a half ago now, even maybe a little bit more, people freaking out about it. And then 2 weeks after it was implemented, you didn't hear about it again. It's like we freak out about a lot of stuff that never actually happens. Okay, so don't be in freak out mode. Be in emotionally sound mode. That's why people hire you, by the way. They don't need an emotional person. That's what they are. That's their job as sellers and buyers, to be emotional. It's your job to add logic to an emotional situation. And the more they feel that, the more they're going to use you and refer you and so forth. Okay, so number three on my list is pricing conversations. That starts right from the beginning, folks. All right, like today, I would really give them three options. Okay, option number one, price it like everybody else, be one of the group, and you'll sell in the MLS average of marketing on days. But you got to do all the work. You got to be willing to give concessions, right? That's just the way it is. Okay, well, I don't like that. Great, then here's what we do. We use all the other people on the market, because remember, people get emotionally attached to a home based on price and what it has, features, benefits, square footage. All right, so how do you get them emotionally attached to your house? By when they first look at it, they go, ooh, look at this one. All right, and then they go see it, and then every other house they look at confirms this is by far the best deal. You should just pay full price for that one. Then you don't have to pay concessions and things like that because you're a great deal already, and you'll be probably the next sale in that price range. But you still got to do the work, make sure it's clean. You got to do all that stuff today. All right, so that's number two. That's my favorite one, by the way. And number three is wait 6 months or a year if you don't absolutely have to sell for the rates to come down, and then you can take advantage of it. If you don't have to sell right now, even if you're moving, rent it for a year. I'll help you with that too. All right, so that's the 3 options I'd give people today. Because look at guys, the truth is the best option, and that's what's going on. I've been doing this 40 years. This is for a lot of you that only been licensed since like 2017, 18 to now. A lot of you have never seen this type of market. It's called normal. A lot of you think it's a buyer's market. Oh my God, it's such a buyer's market. Well, by definition, it's really a normal market. Like you got to do stuff. You got to compete for buyers as sellers. In some areas, it has gone into the buyer slightly, not crazily, but slightly. All right. And, so you're going to be competing in other areas. It's still very much a healthy market, if not towards the seller's market a little bit. So it depends on where you are. That's why you got a number 2, master the market. You got to know what's going on in your market. You have to be an expert of what's going on, especially in your hyperlocal area. That's critically important. Okay, so have the pricing conversation. Number 4, one of my favorites is, look, if you don't want to tolerate, you got to generate. All right, and if you generate, meaning you have a massive pipeline of people. People complain a little bit right now. Well, it's not as busy. How is that possible in real estate? When you could be finding business, setting up your CRM to get drips from you, make sure you're connected with them on social media, having conversations with how can you be not busy? It doesn't even make sense. There's all kinds of things to do all the time. In most markets, you're having at least 65, 70% of the same transactions we were having in 2021. But remember, 2021, 22, those are probably that area of April 2020 to the end of 2021. That's the best 18, 20 months in the history of real estate. I've been doing this 40 years, okay? So that's not reality. Okay, that was manufactured based on 0 interest rates. The base rate was 0 then. You were getting 2.5, and once those rates start coming down, when we get close to some of those interest rates, then the people that aren't moving right now because of that, well, I've got a 3% interest rate. Why would I move? And I would say to them, you shouldn't. All right, because remember, when you try to make people's schedule your own, meaning, well, I know you shouldn't move, but it would really be good for me and my car payment and my house. Then you have commission breath. It's stinky, it's smelly, it's not good. And by the way, human beings are very perceptive. They can smell your stinky commission breath. So whatever's best for them, you should just tell them. Well, I shouldn't move right now. You're right. Right, but what's going to cause them to go? 5.5, 5.75? Who knows? Okay, we're a couple of adjustments away from the finding out. Soon as Jerome Powell, I have another nickname for him, but I can't say it, gets off his high horse and starts lowering them, because they should be lowering them, and they will, and they're getting a lot of pressure to do that. But remember, you're just in a normal market right now. So since you should be good at all markets, the old saying, calm seas never made a good sailor. That's what you're in right now. You're in a little area where you got to work. You got to have a presentation. You got to beat out the competition. Talk about what's good for you to be a well-rounded salesperson. You're in it, baby. This is it. Woo! Be excited. All right. And then I would also say daily disciplines equal weekly wins, equal yearly wins, equal lifely wins. In other words, once you have your business plan can be narrowed down to daily activities, and then your daily activities, once followed, will equal big wins. I mean, it's really your daily business plan. Your yearly business plan and where you want to go gets narrowed down to daily activities, and now it's a time block schedule that becomes your daily business plan. And that's something you got to focus on all the time. It doesn't matter what's going on with the market. You got to do what you got to do. And some of the great agents I coach, they're actually talking to a few more people right now because they have the time to, because they want to, like number 4, build a massive pipeline. If you're building a massive pipeline and the floodgates get opened, guess what kind of role you go on, right? So remember, every time you talk to a human being and you set them up on a drip and make sure you're connected on social media and you're having great conversations, it's money in the bank, all right? It really is. And not only that, okay, it's the right thing to do. Having great conversations with people, the old golden rule. Remember, your fiduciary responsibility as an agent is really just a golden rule on steroids, really. That's your job, is to treat everybody the way you'd want to be treated. If your child or you or one of your family members were buying a house, how would you want them treated? That's the way you treat everybody. That's why my little joke is every realtor should have to move every 3 years, to keep the empathy factor high. And some of you have done it recently, know exactly what I'm talking about. All right. So number one, speed to the lead. You want to be your lead follow-up. Get to people quickly. Return phone calls quickly. Remember, okay, a lot of times you're applying for a job. You are. And selling their house is a big job. And it's a really big job for people. And remember, you need to treat it that way. Become a master of your market. Do a little update. I'd say a couple times a month. Every other week's okay, but once a week is probably a really good pace. Plus, you should be doing videos for social media. If you haven't heard about that yet, it's kind of important. It'll really put you up there on the algorithm if you do that. Pricing conversations, like I said, I like to have 3. Become one of the many. Stand out or wait till next year. And whichever one you want to do is perfectly fine. The last thing you want to do, and the best way to do that is never own the price. Once you say a price, now your ego will defend it until death. No, the house is not overpriced. It's just been on the market for 120 days. That's impossible. Okay, so if the if the house is priced right, it's sold. All right, you always know when it's priced right because it's sold. All right, so as soon as you utter a price, then you must defend it. Right. So my point is, don't tell them the CMA. Ask them. Show them what's on the market. Bedrooms, bathrooms, make them talk to you. Where is that one? Do you know where that address is? Tell me look at the lot size. What's that lot size? How many bedrooms? And then get them to answer experience. And then when you go through the CMA, so now that you've seen all this, you're a buyer in today's market. You tell me, what should we put your home on the market for? And I never let them weasel on that price. I will go, well, do you know of any homes that have sold in your neighborhood? Have you looked at your Zestimate? I want them to say a price, and believe me, I'm going to get them to say a price. And if they pull the old, well, you're the professional, you'll tell me. Okay, then no need to look at it. Let's just sign here. Oh, no, we want to see the price. Oh, well, it does matter, right? It does matter. So I always want them to say a price because they have a price in mind, folks. Trust me. You've never been, in the history of mankind, there's never been a time where people are more educated about everything than right now, and especially when it comes to price. Okay, so that's pricing conversation is important. Build a massive pipeline. You have time right now to build a massive pipeline. As I say that, I'm going to tell you about a third of my coaching schedule is having their best year ever. And about a third are doing the same, and about a third are saying, wow, this market's slow. It's all about what you're doing. And then remember, whatever your plan is, you can break down to daily disciplines, and those daily disciplines become big wins. And I don't know anybody I know who wants to lose. Everybody wants to win, so you got to be doing the right things in order to win. It's just that simple. That is it for me today. Paul, anything you want to add? Okay, everybody. Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. We'll do this again next week. Go out and get them. Thanks, everybody.